Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committees meeting for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. All council meetings will be live streamed on the city's website, and for guest speakers joining us at the table, please do not turn off your microphones. Our first order of business is roll call. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charlin.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mr. Mosley.
Here.
Mrs. Kell-Smith. Ms. Warwick.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. Strasburger, Chair.
Here.
8 members present.
Thank you. Our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before city council. Profanity will not be permitted. Please state your name and neighborhood for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller, who I do not see. We will move on to Zane Gribshaw. We have Zane Gribshaw. Not seeing them. We will move on to Ikahana Halmakina. We have Ikahana Halmakina. Come back to you if you join later. We'll move on to Bernadette Mosey.
Is it on? I don't know.
We can hear you.
Oh, I see you. I don't know how to do this.
Please proceed if you can hear us.
I don't want to mute. How do I do this? Maybe they muted it. I don't know what to do.
If you can hear us, Bernadette, we can hear you.
Hello?
To our cable bureau. Is there a way to message Ms. Mosey? Bernadette, if you can hear us, we'll come back to you, and we'll move on to Abigail King and then come back to you. Abigail King? Okay, I don't see Abigail King. Let's try Ms. Mosey one more time.
Mute. I keep saying unmute.
Can you hear us? We can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay. You can hear me?
We can hear you. Please proceed.
Oh, okay. Hi. I'm Bernadette. Very quickly, this past weekend, both Sundays, the Beachview Sports Association with John Kiefer and his team and my son brought all the kids to Highland Park. Wow, has that place changed since I've been there? We wanted to get all the kids together and swim, and then we went up to the jazz performance. And then this amazing lady gets the whole entire community together to do line dancing, and it was a blast. But me, my little hippie self, was so impressed, like where the water fountain is up there in Highland Park. It is surrounded by the most amazing, ornamental, yet medical, historically, what our ancestors and even what the indigenous people used. The flowers, they had echinacea, they had wild garlic, they had milkweed everywhere, which is also commonly known as the butterfly plant. So I was able to teach, because I have my own webpage on this, I was able to teach, everybody was just sitting around me of all ages, learning about the milkweed plant and how the indigenous people used 100% of that plant. They used the stalk to weave rope and the little white puff when the pods go poof this time of the year. They use that to make pillows. What am I saying? We have a spot at the parking lot across from the community center and an empty lot next door to the community center. That could utilize that type of planting, sitting area, reading area, but also an educational area to teach the kids what was grown and what was it used for by our ancestors when they came here, and what the Native American people utilized when they were here before we got here. And we just have these places in Beachview. I know we have the orchard, but you really can't go and sit and chill at the orchard. So right now you have all the pods up there at Highland Park. Couldn't we get, I don't know what they do at the end of the season. I hope they just don't bulldoze that stuff. But there is a way to bag up those seeds and then replant them up there at the parking lot in Beachview. I'm just asking to bring that beauty that you have in Highland Park and let another neighborhood have it. Yes, we have the community garden in Beachview, but that is impossible. I've tried it in a wheelchair. That is an impossible journey for people who are disabled and elderly unless you have a car. So that's my request, and thank you for Highland Park. It is absolutely beautiful. And that lady that does the line dancing every Sunday, she is amazing, and so are all the people up there. So thank you, have a great day.
Thank you. I see that we've been joined by Ikahana Hamakina, so we'll go back to her for public comment.
N.A. Russell, R-U-S-S-E-L-L.
Ikahana Hamakina, you are muted. Please unmute and you can proceed. If you can hear us, please unmute and proceed. Unfortunately, we see you on mute and we see that you're there, but we need you to unmute to be able to proceed. Is Zane Gribshaw with us? Has Abigail King joined us? Okay. We will try to come back to you at the end of the meeting. For now, we will move on to those who have not registered to speak. Are there any in the audience wishing to come to the podium?
Your name, address, and tell them why you're here.
Hi, my name is Jobrina Russell. My name is Jobrina Russell. I'm here because she seen me walking down the street with no shoes on. Me and my fiance had a missed agreement, and I don't have no clothes and no shoes and nothing like that. And I just moved to my place, and I don't have no furniture or anything like that. So she brought me here to see if this can help me and stuff. Because I was walking down the street, she seen me walking down with no shoes on my feet. And that's why I came to come down here to talk to you. So that's why I came down here. So I just need help so I can get some advice, see if I can get some help. But I have my place, but I got my place like 2 years ago. And I'm kind of nervous right now, so I'm sorry, kind of nervous. So it's my first time here, so. And I live at 803 East Warrington Avenue, and I just got my place. And I don't have no furniture or anything in there or anything. So I just came down here to see if this can help me with my place. And my boyfriend don't know, he put me out. I had no shoes on my feet or nothing like that, and it's like, kind of, excuse me, I mean, we've been together like 5 years, been together for 5 years, and it's like he's not verbal, he's not abusive or anything, he does drugs, he smokes crack, and he does, I mean, when he gets high, he wants to tell me not to be around other people, and that's what he does. And I'll be around him because I love him, and I should be around somebody that does drugs.
Say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, if you stay here, we'll have someone come out and talk with you and get you the help that you need, okay? Please stay.
Okay,
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Yvonne F. Brown. Please excuse me. But when I come down here, I'm trying to explain to you that in our neighborhood, sometimes things are happening that you know nothing about. And when I come down, it's for everybody, not just for me. I come for nothing but to make sure that you listen to us. If you just listen, then maybe in your heart you would be quiet, you would put the computers down, you would put your phones down. Do you understand? We're all human beings. I've been coming down here for 20-something years. I came down because of when I first came down, it's because of the police review. It was years ago. Anytime anything happened between the police and the people, whenever you heard if the person was dead, beat, or whatever, there has been the police that didn't do anything wrong. And that's when we were saying, you haven't even done an investigation, but automatically the police is right. They're not right all the time. Now, just recently, I went to a funeral in Northside, the white funeral home. There's Miss Carol from Northview Heights. Everybody knew Carol Jackson. She was the woman that had the candy for the children. She also had grandchildren that are my daughter's age. Okay, Miss Carol died. Her granddaughter Keisha, does makeup. So the white people had her in the thing, and she looks so strange. But Keisha is a makeup artist. So she went and she took and fixed her grandmother, because she just said, if I let my grandmother go out this earth looking like a strange woman, she would haunt me for the rest of my life. Okay, so we're in there after the funeral. We then went to, we're in there and they're eating. But we were cleaning up, and they said the tow truck. So the tow truck, so everybody ran out. Keisha got the bag, she's cleaning. The tow truck driver, I want you to know, he started calling them people the N-word, N's, calling them names, so they're getting upset. Keisha came out, she's saying, sir, we're cleaning up, please let us get out. He calls them the N-words, he calls the police on us. Do you see what they do? Do you understand? When people are grieving, and that woman had 18 grandchildren standing and gotta watch while they be called names because they gonna come and tow the truck. Come on now. When you're at a funeral, don't do us like that. We're human beings. Do you understand? This woman had 18 grandchildren standing, and she was a good woman with them children. Do you understand? I'm just asking you, treat us like we're human beings, please. But I do want to say something, this last thing. I want to say thank you. If I could just say this, thank you, because on July the 9th is with my son's birthday. And usually I come down and I talk about my son and get kind of teary. But this year I came, and you remember I was thanking you, some of you employees that say, keep coming, keep coming. I said, thank you, because you're giving me hope. I mean, why is it that when I come that I'm supposed to be so bad? All I'm asking you is just consider us all. If I seen that woman, I almost thought we wasn't gonna make it. I said, come on, baby, I'll find you some shoes, some clothes, whatever. This woman needs help, and we do. I'm sorry. My time is up. Thank you for extending the time.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. Can we go back to Ikahana Halmakina if she's still online? Okay, I do not see her. We will now move on to the Standing Committee's agenda. And let's see, we had a request to move the first two bills to the end. Are we okay now? Okay, so we will move on to the Finance and Law Committee. And we have new papers, 2096.
Bill 2096. Ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code, Title I, Administrative, Article 9, Boards, Commissions, and Authorities, Chapter 178A, Youth Commission and Youth Council, by strengthening the Commission's alignment with the City of Pittsburgh structure to ensure that it reflects the diversity of young people across all neighborhoods and communities, thus prioritizing the lived experiences of Pittsburgh's youth to inform the decisions of the city's elected leadership.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick?
Yeah, thanks. Would you all like to come up? And I also have an amendment too, as well. So.
Good morning. How are you all?
So please, yeah, just
Gotcha.
introduce yourselves and then just give us a brief overview.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Walker, and I'm a prosperity manager for the city of Pittsburgh. When I first started, I was hired as the education coordinator, and in my role, one of the things that I was really excited to do was work to really center youth voice in more ways and throughout city government. And this redesign of the Youth Commission has been that last summer we spent about 8 weeks with about 30 to 40 different young people from all parts of the city, which they participated in a design group. And I brought the final report, like a copy for each one of you. Adrienne, could you pass it? Absolutely. Thank you. And in this report, you'll be able to see the things that young people had concerns about, what they felt was missing from their neighborhoods, what they wanted legislators and other leaders to really hear, and other ways for them to get involved beyond just the participation of the design. And that's kind of where we are today. So in short, we hope to increase the age limit from like 14 to 18 to 19 to 30, so including the 14 to 30 group of young people throughout the city. We wanted to ensure that the people on the Youth Commission were not just folks like me who work alongside youth, but also ones who are of youth age, being able to contribute their ideas, their thoughts, etc. Additionally, we wanted to ensure that we had diverse participation from some of our college students who live and interact and have concerns that they want to share throughout the city. We wanted to have representation from our immigrants and refugee youth. We also wanted to ensure that just as involved youth had some sort of say in things that were happening too, to hopefully alter their experiences, and then having representation from a housing authority youth as well. And those are like really big changes that we wanted. Additionally, we wanted to ensure that there was a staff person to kind of facilitate the Youth Commission work, and that's something that we did recommend coming from like the mayor's office, just given the design of my position, and then also the youth coordinator role. And then finally, just really making sure that we have representation from every council district, as well as additional youth at large throughout the city, because we know that sometimes that is not always the case, but we really want this to be a diverse body of young people. So those were some of the legislative changes in like quick time, and if there are more questions, I'm happy to, like make space and talk about them too.
And then I'd also like to motion for an amendment. I requested an amendment that would require a quarterly report from the commission. And I think that that coincides with the need for a staff member, because, on a lot of these commissions, it is volunteer, folks are volunteers, so the commissioners themselves don't have time to do this kind of stuff, which is why it's, as imperative to have that staff member who is making sure that the work of the commission is moving forward. And I know that we've seen great work on the Youth Commission, and, and the next bill will be similar for the LGBTQIA+ Commission. So I'd like to motion to amend.
Second.
Discussion? Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I look forward to studying the report that you've handed to us. And I just kind of skimmed it a little. Is it okay if I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
One of the things that I hear you asking for is a change to the demographic structure in the commission, which seems to be addressing what you felt like was underrepresentation. And one of the things that really jumps out is on page 10 with the map of the participants that had been engaged in the commission up till now, and that they were from the kind of outermost boundaries of the city. And there's really a dramatic difference between some zip codes and others. Do you think the request that you're asking for will spread out the participants across city neighborhoods?
I think so, and that's why we wanted to include that there is, like, at a minimum, having representation from each district, but also, like, having other members who may live in a district that is, like, overpopulated, but also under-resourced in a sense. Like, I think that's where we see a lot of young voices that are getting, like, overlooked, or they don't feel as though there's enough opportunity for them to go to, like, maybe a neighborhood activity, or even have a space to interact with other young people in this type of sense of, like, the government, or just participating in a space that would allow them to share their concerns. I know last summer when we did a lot of this outreach, we realized that some of the participants, like, who, for example, where I live, in a District 2 resident, they felt that there wasn't anything where they resided at all, which is something that we've heard often. But we realized that there was quite a few young people from that district who wanted to participate, and participated at like a bit of a larger number. Now, sometimes we see that with these types of groups, after they start, they don't always continue because of a variety of reasons. But I think having the extra, like, overemphasis on, like, the members at large can kind of help fulfill some of those gaps. We do know that whenever this application goes live, there'll likely be an overwhelming amount of folks. So at some point, we hope to maybe be able to utilize, like, that wait list group to kind of fill in some of those spots as we see the commissioners, like, aging out, and then also just not being able to participate in some ways too. So that's just something that we were thinking about, but we definitely hope that this will be a good way to include their voices.
If I'm reading this map correctly, it looks like 40% or nearly half of the participants came from zip code 15220. Hold on, my eyes are not that great. 15205 and 15210, which are in the southern and western neighborhoods. That's almost nearly half the commission. And then so you're asking for a change in the age breakdown. And then so if that helps kind of spread it out, like, are you going to try to spread out participation geographically within each age range?
Yes. I also think that, I just want to clear up something too. The group who participated last summer, they will not automatically all be considered for the commission. These were just the ones who, like, volunteered a lot of time, and some of that was because, like, a teacher saw this.
I was going to ask for school related.
Yes, like a teacher saw and did a lot of outreach, which at
But that's a good strategy
yes.
for how to get engaged across
Yes.
the city, right? So let's use schools more for that
Yes.
age group or whatever, yeah.
And we do plan to utilize, like, the social studies teachers at Pittsburgh Public and some of the other city schools, like City Charter High School downtown, for an example, is a really good partner, and they had quite a few young people participate last year as well, just because, like, most of the kids, they reside within the city while also going to that school, so we didn't want to exclude them with some of the work that we often do with, like, PPS naturally.
Sure, got it. And then for group dynamics, and we know this from, not that any of us are, like, educator focused, but we know that in the classroom or in a group setting, some voices get silenced, and especially when you've got an age difference.
Yeah.
And so since you're asking for people at much older ages to also participate, like how will you ensure that people's voices are heard in the structure?
We plan to keep them on two separate tracks. So like the 14 to 18-year-olds will still be grouped together, and then the 19 to 30-year-olds will be another group. Just understanding like they both have different experiences. Like someone who's 25 will not have the same experience as like a 16-year-old. Like our hope by adding in like someone who may be like on an apprenticeship track, like they'll be thinking more about a young professional and working and navigating some of those dynamics while also residing in the city. And then the goal for the 14 to 18-year-olds will be just thinking generally about civic orients and what does it mean to get involved? Like who are our elected officials? What does it mean to maybe participate in elections and those types of things? And then when they age out, the goal is to either keep them or just make them overall more civically engaged. But we don't imagine them having their group meetings because that would be a lot. Like, and also just with like clearances and things of that sort, we wouldn't necessarily want that. But we do hope like maybe when they're doing volunteering or things of that sort, like the youth commission will be like this overall branded entity, but like they can participate in large things like that, but they will likely be having two separate events sometimes too.
In the quarterly report, I think that Councilwoman Warwick is building into the structure. It would be good to review those processes. Again, you even mentioned like, state security clearances and things like that, right? I mean, we just want to make sure that it's being administered appropriately. And since we are also here with our staffing for the Gender Equity Commission, I always ask in these kinds of group things, especially when we're talking about people of younger ages, about ensuring that there's a gender sensitivity to people's voices in the group as well. Like we know this about group dynamics, right? This is just documented, right? And so we want to be sensitive to make sure that even of the people who are in the room that we have full participation. So that'll be interesting to see in the reporting out, I think.
If I may comment on that, actually.
Sure, I'd love that.
I really appreciate the work that Alexis has done to really ensure that equity is at the cornerstone and really the core of this work. And me and her have talked quite a bit about the kind of language she included in here, ensuring that not only did she create that separation between these groups, but also as the staffer would be responsible for ensuring that they're onboarding these commissioners, that they are well educated and understanding as to what their roles are and that they feel empowered to speak out, as well as ensuring that they have that staffer to be able to talk about any difficulties or issues they might be having in that commission, like feeling that they can't be open about something.
Right, but I don't think it would be I think it would be helpful. It wouldn't be unhelpful to even have the kind of reporting out being kind of having the gendered data breakdown that we've been looking for from city departments and other things as well. Okay, just like free thinking here, just like brainstorming. Appreciate it. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councilperson Charlin.
Yes, thank you for being here today. This is helpful. I'm excited to be able to look through this later today. I do have a question, though. So in the legislation, it seems prescriptive that the youth coordinator needs to be in the office of the mayor. Knowing that, administrations change, is there any willingness to not require this to be in the mayor's office and allow this to be somewhere else? A future mayor may not want this to be something that is a position budgeted in the mayor's office and could be budgeted elsewhere.
So I think initially our thinking was when this was something before we came in that sat with primarily within city council, we ran into a similar instance where there was some sort of that the person, the council person leading the charge, once they were no longer in office, there was no one facilitating it. We figured that if we wrote it, wrote in that this youth coordinator or even someone similar, doing youth related work would be the person to facilitate it from the mayor's office. It doesn't necessarily have to be the youth coordinator. And if you think that it makes sense for us to maybe retitle it, or make the language something a little bit different, we can consider that. But I just know that this is something that we felt would be necessary given the work and the things that our consultants navigated and embarked on last summer. But I mean, I'm happy to talk it over with like some of our leadership to see like if there's been other thoughts around that. But this is just kind of like where our thinking was and why we wrote it for the mayor's
May I
office.
actually comment on that as well? It's really important that all of our commissions are advising not only city council, but the mayor themselves. And so I think when it comes to the commissions that at least I've worked on and that Alexis has worked on this language for, it does make a lot of sense that the person that would be staffing these commissions would in some way be connected to the mayor's office to ensure that that communication or anything that those commissions are doing is well informed by what the mayor is doing and vice versa.
I guess my point would be, though, that, like, I don't want someone prescribing who or what positions I have to have in my office. As an elected official, I think the same goes for, for this mayor, for future mayors, for future council members. We don't want to necessarily prescribe what an elected official has to have in their office. There's some things that we can all agree, right? Like that we would want that. But if I chose to not have someone handle constituent concerns or not handle senior outreach, that's or the person who replaces me, that's their option. And I think I would be more comfortable if we didn't title this position the youth coordinator. I was just looking at the legislation in the office of the mayor, and we agreed that we're going to have a youth coordinator. But if that person should be in OMB or that person should be in parks, I think that should be up to future electeds to make that decision. So, any feedback on that?
I mean, I can understand where you're coming from in that instance. I would say that I can understand making the language maybe a little more flexible to be like a managerial level employee. But I would say that I do think it's important, as subscribed in the legislation, that when they are advising both the mayor and city council, that they are in a position where they can have easy connection to the mayor's office and to city council.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any disagreement there. I think that saying where this position needs to be located in another elected's office, I don't support. The other question I had, though, is that the legislation, not your amendment to it, but the legislation also says that quarterly reports are something that should be already happening. Have those been happening? I can't say that I've seen any quarterly reports.
The commission hasn't been actively stood up in quite some time, so they haven't been happening.
Okay.
So, which is why we're bringing this back and making the legislative changes.
Okay. I would look forward to seeing those reports and what they could entail here. So.
Thank you. Get you on second round. First round, Councilman Wilson.
Thank you. Thanks for putting this together. And just for clarity, it says 2024. Is that because the study was done in 24 or the report was done in 2024? Okay.
Yeah, it happened last summer.
Okay. So when I look at the bill, it does describe the position. So the youth coordinator, this was the language that was added today. The youth coordinator in the office of the mayor shall staff. So you're the youth coordinator?
I'm not the youth coordinator. The youth coordinator is behind us, but I do manage our youth coordinator. So essentially, it is just something that we both have organically been working on. Now, when I was hired as the education coordinator, this was something that I was primarily doing until the youth coordinator came in and was hired at the end of at the beginning of last year is when he started.
Okay. So the youth coordinator, in this language, it adds it to the office of the mayor. Is that true?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
It says the youth coordinator in the office of the mayor shall staff. So does that mean that the youth coordinator was not in the office of the mayor previously?
Well, the position didn't exist previously. His position came last year.
Last year was when it was created.
So it was added in the budget for last year to start, and then he's here again.
But that
this
was
year.
under the mayor's office budget.
Yes, it was added to the mayor's office budget.
And then this language ties it to this commission,
Yes.
to the advisory group. Okay. Just looking at, especially the way it's presented, Mayor's Youth Advisory Group, it definitely is, pointed at, the mayor's office. Obviously, this is all, the language that puts it into the mayor's office. Where was it previously? It was in the council office? Which council office?
I'm not entirely sure, but it was written to be something that that council and the mayor did, but most of the facilitation was coming from city council. And I do know that it worked with some Pittsburgh public school students, like their student voice group. They also were doing work with city council around this. But like I said, it had been quite a few years before anyone had been actively serving on the youth commission.
Yeah, good.
Very briefly, just for context, I believe it was actually started when Councilman O'Connor was actually here. So he was leading the initiative on this. And so once he went away, then all that work sort of went away with him.
So this is literally this is what he worked on initially. Well, he might have some say on you might have some say on that coming in, if he wins. That's an interesting scenario. I just think if something we want that's everlasting, we wouldn't put it in one elected. A lot of this stuff, there's other things that each mayor creates in the office, and that's gonna, the next mayor might have something different. But if we want something like this to be everlasting, I think it deserves further conversation on where all this lies. I haven't been here that long, but I've seen some pretty big changes just within one mayor to the next, and especially if the council person who created this could potentially be the incoming mayor. It'd be good to get their take on this, since this was where it started. So I'm hesitant to move forward with this. I think that we should definitely think more critically on if we want something like this to be more everlasting in the city, that we stand it up in a way that it would stand the test of time of any elected official.
I mean, I'm happy to say that I do think the structure that Alexis has created does really lead to longevity for the commission. We understand that every mayor or any administration may have different views as to what direction they'd like certain commissions to go in, but the commissions themselves are independent bodies that are there to give advice as to what recommendations or policies or research should be done on behalf of their communities or the demographic that they're specifically representing. I don't want to get too held up on the staffer language. I do just want to say that is just to ensure that there is a connection to the administration when that commission is trying to do policies, recommendation, or research, that they have the needed support from that staffer to ensure that they're getting in connection with comms teams, print shops, event planning, so that the commissioners themselves don't have to go out of their way to do all of that planning outside of their ordinary time, since they are, volunteering this time to ensure that we are being well informed as to what their needs are.
I guess my other question that I have, just hearing you, Councilman Wilson, is there other examples in which there has been some sort of, longevity or some sort of continuity that exists around, maintaining someone to facilitate, whether it be a program or some sort of other initiative that maybe we could look at for reference as we are considering the recommendations that you've just presented to us? And this is just mainly for our own, our awareness, so that way we can have as much information to share back with our leaders.
Let me ask another question. You're asking me, do I have an example of how, a past example of how this is, what I suggested has been actually implemented?
Yes.
No, but I have some I've had a lot of examples. Some may qualify, but that's why I suggest that we should have further conversation about maybe looking into that.
Okay.
Actually like look into how that has been accomplished in the past. To be quite honest, I actually don't know everything that exists over at the mayor's office, so I couldn't really give a good take on from the past administration to this administration.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. First round, Councilman Coghill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So it says prepared by Common Cause Consultants. There was a firm that we hired
We worked with them.
for this, and that's for this. Just
Yes,
this?
just for that.
Just
Just
that.
for that, yes. As well as the University of Pittsburgh. And then they helped us with some of the facilitation and like the data collection and things of that sort with the young people.
Did we pay them?
It wasn't something that like the city did, like, so we partnered with them and then we used some of our MBK like dollars to supplement that, which is already with an external like provider right now. But we did spend down all of the money from that.
So did we spend taxpayer money on for making that, right? Is that right?
So it was already allocated funding, so we took money from.
It was allocated,
Yes,
right.
it was
But how
already,
much? Do you
yes.
know? Do you know?
I could pull the numbers for
Okay,
you.
that's okay,
Yeah,
that's okay.
it's
I'm
been
just
a while,
curious,
I'm
so,
sorry, but yeah, it was
No,
from.
I don't
my
expect you to
budget,
know.
yeah.
I really don't. But I didn't know if you worked, on that end of it. Maybe I thought you might know. But yeah, I don't expect you to have that in the top of your head. But obviously, we paid this group something. Okay. Is there a budget that's requested for the groups as to moving forward?
So we did put in like a small budget, and that was primarily to supplement like snacks and meals for the young people participating. And then we wrote in like a supply budget. I don't think it exceeded more than like $2,000, but that was just something that we wrote in last year for this year's budget, assuming that we would be able to start recruitment this fall once school started.
So there's no real major budget here.
No, it's not a real major budget at all.
Yeah, I understand what my colleagues are saying about this being linked in with the mayor's office, right? And whether it was Councilman O'Connor at the time or not, and whether he's our next mayor or not, regardless, I'll give you a prime example. You asked Councilman Wilson, is the fund that we had for the nonprofits, right? It was in a big fund, and anticipating $40 million a year or so, and we're $40 million in it a total, and poof, like that, it's gone. So, mayors come in, they have their own agenda, even if it was something that they initially started.
Councilman Coghill,
Yes.
can you move your microphone, please?
Oh.
We're at the request of.
Sorry about that. I
Thank
should
you.
have heard you. So I understand their concerns with that. I really do. If it's the exact same thing that former councilman was worked on, and he happens to be our next mayor, then I guess he'll just adopt it, maybe change the name. But I do understand those concerns, and it's as simple as not labeling it, I guess. Just label it as a City of Pittsburgh operation. I think it might be better received by the next administration, So, okay, no, I'll be in support, and it's fine, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
First round, Councilman Lavelle.
Thank you.
Council President
Thank you. I just want to correct the record because I slightly misspoke. The Youth Commission was actually created in 2006. What Councilman O'Connor created was a Youth Council Budget Commission, so engaging youth in our actual budgeting process. So I just want to make that distinguish.
Thank you. And we do still do that. I work with PPS students every year to still facilitate a youth budget like simulation activity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Second round, Councilmember Warwick.
Yeah, just in terms of the position and where it sits. I mean, I would say that council creates these commissions, right? LGBTQIA. I mean, this would be the same for LGBTQIA commission, youth commission, gender equity commission, because as a body for the people that we represent, those are important commissions for the city as a whole. And so it makes sense that we would prescribe, I mean, I hope, and I mean, I assume, right, that these are important commissions for the incoming mayor, and I would hope that they would be important commissions for any future mayor down the road. Obviously, if, you know, the LGBTQIA commission was no longer an important commission, a mayor could move to get rid of the commission entirely if that was, you know, their prerogative as mayor. That said, and this isn't just these commissions, I would say that this would be for all commissions, right? For there to be a purpose to the, you know, for those commissions to be effective, it does feel like they need to be staffed. I mean, OMB doesn't feel right, DPW doesn't feel right. I don't know what other department feels right. I mean, short of making a department of commissions, which feels over, you know, and the mayor, of course, is the head of the city, right? And so, you know, having that work and, you know, whether a mayor chooses to act on the recommendations and whatnot of the commissions and the commissioners, you know, that's one thing. But I think that having those commissions staffed by someone at the city and I mean, I guess it could be, I could see it being in council. That wouldn't, yeah, it's not something I would be opposed to, but again, that's 9 people and, you know, I mean, the mayor is one, I mean, that is the mayor is the executive, right? The mayor is the one man, I mean, that's the mayor's job is to manage all the people working in the city, you know, and at council, it just feels like that could get difficult, right? Like, is it part of the clerk's office? That doesn't feel like the purview of council. And again, just to underscore too, and I know that there are concerns about like staff, you know, we've heard this through the past election and, you know, with staffing issues and budget issues and whatnot, you know, it doesn't, I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that this says that it needs to be one per, like that's their entire job is to manage this one commission. That I don't believe is the case, right?
Not
so
the case.
That's not to say that a mayor couldn't, you know, work their staff as needed. It is just that the role needs to exist, right? And that for me, at least when I saw these come through, was why I asked for the quarterly report, to be sure that these commissions that we have created, and we are asking people to volunteer, right? Like they come, they have these meetings every month. I mean, it is a lot of work to be on a commission. And on the one hand, it's a lot of work to be on an active, effective commission. And on the other hand, we have seen commissions that have just kind of fizzled and you're like, what does this commission even do? So having that staff member and then also, you know, who then presumably, I mean, would be in charge of those reports, like this is what this commission is doing, that lets us see as council what the commission is doing, lets the public see, because, you know, these are, you know, we don't want to just be spinning our wheels and creating commissions and having meetings just for the sake of it, right? We want to see results. So anyway, I think that all of that would be my understanding anyway of why the mayor is the best person to kind of be at the you know at the head of that, to know what these commissions are doing and to know like right, like what these various communities represented by these commissions are thinking and feeling and recommending for the benefit of the city. It feels like something that the mayor should have like a direct line of communication with. So anyway, that's more, it's not a question, just a statement, but thanks.
Thank you. Second round, Councilman Wilson.
I was just sitting here thinking about your question about, you know, what has changed. And so what has changed, what I can just think of right now is the staff from OCHS went from the mayor's office to public safety during this administration. And also the 301 staff went from 301 to all in the mayor's office. So the mayor's office has, you know, shrunk some, grew a lot in other ways, and so that's just the example of staff that has changed. That's pretty dramatic, and so that's an example, and that's kind of what I'm alluding. That is what I'm alluding to. That there are changes that happen. I guess the changes we can just wait. We have the decision to either just wait for the next administration to come in and, lay out how they want to run government, and they would make changes within their own office. And that may be the case, but I'm just thinking we have an opportunity here to think more critically on where it can go, so that there isn't this, jockeying around whenever different administrations come each time. Because I do think OCHS I think that was a good move to move it out of the mayor's office. I'm talking, that's a whole office, but that went from an office to part of a department. But the staff was in the mayor's office. And so things changed, but I'm just caution adding to the next mayor's office in the last, 5 months of this term.
Understood.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilman Coghill.
Thank you. Just for me, like, what is the end goal here? Is to be advised by youth throughout the city as to what their needs and wants
More
are?
or
Is
less,
that right?
and then also just ensuring that we do have this youth body that exists when there may be concerns happening that are impacting youth experience in the city, or really just like a place to allow them to help us shape and make more informed decisions. In most cities, youth commissions, they do exist, and they play an integral role in city governance, especially from their leaders, which I didn't mention this, but we did interact with different youth commissions from different cities. Philadelphia was like a really good example. We interacted with youth commissions in California, and then our youth itself, they did research on different youth commissions throughout the country, and the ones that stood up to them the most were Philly, LA, and like some in Georgia. I had already had pre-existing conversations just like on my own when I first started, but like the fact that those youth commissions were so large and active, naturally they were easy for them to find what they were doing and to just like kind of refer to their recommendations. Mm-hmm. Also, whether it be through city council or through the mayor's office, the youth commissions, they like do things, and people know that this is what you can do as a young person. This is how you can get involved in just like sharing your concerns. If there's an issue around perhaps like I'm on my walk to school and I feel like it's not like lit enough for me, like that's something that like the youth can be very articulative of. And also they can, what our group like studied was they created like different buckets of work that they wanted to really see priority like decisions made around. So it was like safety and entertainment and different things of that sort. So I think just being able to have this group stood up is something that would really mean a lot to young people in the city. But it also, at the end of the day, it really affirms that there is a place for them and their voices do have power in city government.
Yeah, I love the idea of here getting the opinion of the youth, and it seems to me it's almost like a junior comprehensive plan of some.
Very similarly. And we did do like a couple weeks ago, we did have a youth comp plan day here at the CCB, and it was huge. Like we engaged like Learn and Earn Youth, and we had about 70 young people here at the City County building participating, and they loved it, and we learned so much from them. And I think DCP had a really good experience with being able to interact with that core group of constituents, because in the larger engagements, young people aren't coming to them. They don't feel like they can like share what's going on. They don't feel like, oh, like me and what I am experiencing.
You get their true take on
right.
things. Yeah, I got you. The young man behind you, I know I've met him. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Derek Caldwell.
Coghill? Derek Caldwell. Okay, Derek, nice to meet you. Derek is a paid position. I don't want to drag you up here, but Derek is a paid position.
Yes.
He was with the administration beforehand, or did he come in just for this?
He came in just for this job.
Just for this job, okay. Okay, he's really the only paid position.
Well,
in this.
Like in this sense of the youth commission?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. He'll be the only one. And that's why I think at the beginning, like if we...
I mean, other expenses,
yes.
like you said, snacks and stuff, but we're not worried about that. I'm talking about payroll. Derek's the only...
Yes.
He's what's his official title?
Youth coordinator.
And that's not his only role, is to be on this commission. He also has other work responsibilities.
Well, that's what I was asking. So,
yes.
But he was brought in for this role.
As the youth coordinator, yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's it for me, Madam Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilman Mosley.
Yeah, thank you for being here today. My first question is, could you speak a little bit more to what you alluded to as far as, what was learned, kind of best practices, as well as other models that you picked up from the other youth councils from around the country?
So I think first and foremost, the FaceTime that young people got to have with elected leaders was something that we learned was really important, and it's something that means a lot to the participants on the Youth Commission. Being able to sit in front of leaders and share like their recommendations, and then seeing some of those recommendations actually happen in practice was also something that was well perceived. Something else that we learned is that the earlier that you start young people participating in this, the better in a sense. And we also realized that sometimes your K through 12 education these days is not overly focused on social studies and civic participation. So a lot of the times when young people are becoming more activated and getting more involved in their communities and just trying to find a deeper sense of belonging, sometimes that happens in extracurricular activities that don't necessarily align with what they're learning in school. And we learned that the youth that were participating on these commissions, they were doing just that. They were engaged, they were involved, and they were also inspiring their other peers to do some of the work they were doing, not necessarily being like the commissioner per se, but participating in the events that they were hosting, the volunteering, maybe the youth organizing, maybe some of the protests or some of the other things that they would do, all within good reason for sure, and just being more involved in the things that were happening within their city. And I think that is something that we really wanted to see. Like if you were to ask like young people, like what does it mean to get involved like civically, and naturally they're going to think about like federal politics, but like what we hope that this also inspires them to think about is like city government or just municipal government, school boards. Like these are all things that are impacting their day to day, and oftentimes more than not, they don't necessarily know that because local politics and local government is not always your core focus when you're in school. Like you go very federal, and I say this as a formal social studies teacher, so this is deeply something that I do care a lot about, but I also think that having more of these types of experiences is something that the youth overall, they'll just feel more connected to the city that they live in.
Mm-hmm. And can you speak to, based on the research that you've done and your team and everybody who's been involved has done, can speak to, the argument, for having an interest and investment, in this kind of programming versus, cities that haven't, had this kind of focus? Is there, an argument that you can make to say, looking at a city that has a very, robust youth commission versus a city that doesn't, or a city that doesn't have one at all, what would make Pittsburgh, more competitive and position Pittsburgh, as a city that's trying to prime for, for regrowth, and reposition ourselves. How does a youth commission, help support that cause?
I think the young people stay. They see that there's so much value in the things that they're doing, so they feel more connected to the city that they're in. When you don't have opportunities to feel connected or share your concerns, you leave. And you go, you start your lives, you find work, and then at some point you come back. I don't know if you all saw, but just this year in May, there was a study for young people, like more within our age group, Adriana and I's, about the emphasis on leaving Pittsburgh because we don't feel that there's enough for us to stay. And while we are very fortunate to have positions in city government and are sitting at this table being able to share what it is that we care about, and why we think this is important for other constituents, not everyone has that opportunity or the access to even know how to participate in those types of conversations. And I think a youth commission can do very much that. One other thing before I served in city government, I facilitated a teen civic engagement program, which is also how I got to meet Councilwoman Straussberger. And Girl Gov was an opportunity to really give young girls, gender expansive youth, an opportunity to get in front of legislators, but to just really activate their minds. And I think we see more of those. But like, there wasn't a youth commission for those voices or that work to be able to continue. So we see other nonprofits creating some other similar activity. And I'm not discrediting that work at all. I think it's great. But like, we can do this here too in the city of Pittsburgh. It did exist. I just feel like we have to find more ways to have the right people facilitating, whether that be a youth coordinator or a similar position, and just, like really ensure that we're centering youth voice. And I know this is something that we do for a lot of our other commissions as like a very targeted demographic group. I think it's just something that we can do here. And then we'll see some of those positive changes that you're referring to or wanting to learn more about, Councilman Mosley.
Yeah, so clearly you see this as not only a tool to create a more engaged citizenry, but also as, a specific strategy to retain youth and young adults in the region, in a region where obviously there's a, high interest of young adults. And youth, so to speak, 16 to 25 age group of wanting to leave. And I think, in some conversation I have, I think sometimes that that demographic is much older than just the 25-year-olds are looking to try to get to Key West or Tucson, Arizona. So thank you for your time. That exhausts my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I have some questions. So I want to thank you both for your work here. I want to thank you for being here. And as people were speaking, I came up with more questions, so I have a list here. So my first question, I think, was answered, that this doesn't necessarily call for a dedicated single one-person position if we come to the point where, like, it would be unfortunate, but we might get to the point budget-wise where, like, it would have to be a part-time position shared with another commission or several other commissions. So we're not pigeonholed into that. Okay. Second question is, and this is not distinct to this commission nor any commission. It's an issue that, there's a lot of great work going on in the city, and it takes a council member sort of inserting themselves to know what's going on there. I like the quarterly reports. I think that as this stands up more and is more active will help. My ask is that you think through what more could be done to ensure that with all of the information coming at all of us from multiple angles all the time, that when there's something that's really exciting, interesting, important that comes up, that there is something that is triggered now or in the future years to reach out to the appropriate person who might chair the appropriate committee in council to say, hey, we should do a post agenda. Like, it's been a couple years, let's do a post agenda, or whatever might be right, so we're not fully relying on council to initiate that. And like, we'll get the reports, we could initiate that for sure, but I think whenever we have the opportunity to get the information just presented to us in a different format too, that's helpful. Because if the point is to make those connections to fully inform council of, some of their constituency and what the young people in the city care about, I think, making sure that the communication is strong is really important. And that goes for like the next bill too. So it's just for all commissions and all the things you're working on. Third, is there any thought about having some sort of an alumni group? I say that because you never know where folks are going to end up, right? They might move on to become interns, they might move on to become staff here. I've seen it really successful with one group in actually Councilmember Warwick's district, but it kind of, we share the neighborhood friendship circle in Squirrel Hill has a strong cohort, but then they like keep in touch with 100% of their alums through a newsletter. And then when they have a need for advocacy on disability rights, et cetera, like they bring them back in and engage them. So again, it takes staff, it takes work, but wanted to float that idea.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. And I do think that we have had conversations around that. I think the Youth Civic Leadership Academy is a good example of what is next and what do we do with them. Naturally, a lot of them, they participate at 14, but it's only a 1-year experience. So there's been ways to engage that group very deeply once they complete their 1 year through internship opportunities, through Learn and Earn, through other things that we see, but also we would love for some of those participants to be able to have this space to be able to matriculate into and others. So thank you. And it is something that we have also considered.
Sure.
And then also naturally just at some point forming a young professional group in the city. Like that's something that we have been wanting to do, but it is something that has been really difficult and wanted to put time and energy into standing this up first before being able to like go and create something else, especially if that is like something that may exist outside of city government, but like just also thinking about like what could be possible within already existing channels too.
Thank you. That's great. And that's a great segue to my final question, which is, Pump was started with that goal in mind, right? That exact goal, to ensure that young people here, young professionals are engaged, they're civically active, they can play kickball, but they can also do other things, right? Like it's all of the above, and it's grown into. And I know we have a great former, an alum of the city, spearheading that group now. But wanted to see what kind of interaction there is, if any, or what your thoughts are in terms of integration into groups like Pump, Girl Gov, Strong Women, Strong Girls, like whatever the youth engaging groups might be in the city. Because I don't think this is necessarily like a replacement, it's additive. The more that we can, more youth we can engage in any way that we get them is great. But how do you see that integration happening?
So Josiah actually helped us in the very beginning. He was one of the first people that I had a conversation with when I started about this. He gave me a lot of institutional information and kind of helped give us some ideas around breaking out some of these groups, and just thinking a little bit more about ways in which we can engage beyond just like this setting. Ultimately, we do hope to be able to source some of our youth from some of those existing groups, because naturally you go to things that you already have interest in. Not to say that we're going to only source youth from there, because we do want to activate and inspire new interests for some people who may be on the fence about participating in an experience like this, but I think those are good ways. And I know that Caldwell sits in on like a network of different civic groups that meet on like a monthly-ish type basis, where because some of these groups, they do come together. They talk about different advocacy days. Sometimes they happen at the state level, and just other experiences where youth are engaged in large ways, like civically, is definitely something that does exist. And we do utilize those groups when we're putting out information, whether that be about like our budget experiences, or even just to have youth participate in this group last summer. Like those partners were really good in getting this in front of young people and even making recommendations for those to participate.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Appreciate your work. Any further discussion? Councilman, third round, Councilman Wilson.
The Common Cause, they're the ones that are doing
The comp plan.
the comp plan. All right, we need to make sure that when they give us the report, that it's better than this report, because this table of contents, I haven't sat here and read through everything, but the table of contents don't line up on a couple. Like the design, I just wanted to see what deliverables can come from this, and I want to ask that question.
I'm not sure too
like
if
that
maybe
doesn't line
things
up,
got
and
off
then
from printing, but
yeah, and then like the first sentence on 15 is a bunch of jumbles of words, and I just know we're paying $6 million so for the comp plan, separate aside from this. But did they make this?
I think the youth also helped them too. So
Okay.
I can also make sure that you all got the right one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that
apologize,
Common
but
Cause,
yeah, no.
if Common
But
Cause is doing
it
this,
is
we
also
need to make
likely
sure
that
that
it could be off from printing, but
Okay. All right. But the deliverables, I was trying to look at that. What deliverables could we expect from?
if you go to the end, I don't have one in front of me, but I have some notes. There's like the recommendations for the committees that the youth that the youth wanted to form. So just youth peace, the social infrastructure, education, arts and culture, economic opportunity, marketing and outreach, and then the programming aspect. Those were some of the initial things that they wanted to have that would be good in a youth commission. And then also just the research that they were able to do amongst themselves, like figuring out like what exists in other cities, what doesn't exist here in Pittsburgh, who are people that we could interact with to kind of help us in this design work. what is needed to make sure that these committees have, like representation from someone in city government. That's something that they wanted to have. Like, there was just like those types of things that they initially listed in that report to be considered when we are actually standing up the commission.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking at the deliverables here, starting on page 15, and I was just seeing what to expect from it. So thank you.
Councilperson Charland.
Thank you. All right. So we've got a lot longer on this than I think any of us were anticipating we would, but we're back and we're punchy. So
You started this, by the way.
no, that's usually true. I still have issues with the office of the mayor portion, and another kind of thought came through. First of all, do we have any other staffing positions in the office of the mayor that are prescribed that they have to be in the office of the mayor? Are there any other commissions that are staffed?
Yes. The Gender Equity Commission has language that says that they have to have a managerial position coming from the mayor's office to staff the Gender Equity Commission.
Okay, that's helpful to know. I guess the thing that I was thinking about is, like, what if we had a someone in parks or planning or OMB or anything else that was like, that person would be the perfect person to be this staffer, but because of this legislation, they have to be in the mayor's office, so it can't be them.
So there's nothing stopping that staffer from working with that other person, communicating with them, having them as a part of the commission.
But it couldn't be them. We would need to.
I guess I'm also not really understanding where this other position would fit better in your context. Again, these commissions are supposed to be advising city council and the mayor.
Yeah.
So if we put them in parks or OMB or another department, it might make it harder for the mayor's office to be fully aware of the kind of work that commission is doing, or be able to have input on the kind of work that commission is doing if they think there's something that they could work with that commission on.
The other thing, agreeing that I believe that this commission is going to provide valuable insight to both the mayor and council. We have had, I specifically have had trouble finding out information that the mayor's office is aware of. If this person is a staffer accountable to the mayor's office, what is there to ensure that insight will come to council?
I think that's a great question.
I was just going to say, I think that's to the point that Councilwoman Warwick made about the tracking and the reporting.
The quarterly reports, yeah.
Because that didn't necessarily happen, so we want to ensure that that is happening, so that way council is more informed and has just, like more awareness to what you're speaking to.
I'd also say, excuse me, the Gender Equity Commission and the LGBTQIA Commission both have requirements within their ordinances to give annual reports. That has not happened very often in the past because there's usually not been a staffer to help organize those reports and present them to council. Again, a lot of these folks, well, all of these folks that are on this commission for more or less have their own day jobs, their own responsibilities, and might not have the time to be able to put together reports or come directly to council with the kind of improvements or progress they've been making.
Yeah, there's no disagreement for me that there should be a staffer, a staff person assigned to this. I think that all of our commissions are more effective when they have
absolutely
a staffer. That's true in community groups, right? Like any groups that have even a part-time paid staffer are way more effective than groups that are just get together once a month. Again, I think my issue here is that it's in the mayor's office. So I would like to motion to strike the language. It's in 178A.09. I believe it says of the mayor, or the youth coordinator in the office of the mayor. I would like to strike, motion to strike in the office of the mayor. And keep everything else there, if that makes sense.
All right, in the office
interrogatory, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes.
Personally, I'm actually indifferent about where the youth coordinator is actually held. So I just put that on the table. I don't think it would make sense for them to be in O&B at all. Like planning, maybe. But generally speaking, I'm indifferent. I guess I guess a technical question is, if we strike that councilman, where would they then be?
I think my point here is that's not necessarily for us to decide.
Who would decide?
Whoever is, it could be this mayor, it could be whoever's in the future, mayors that are there, but saying that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Currently the position is in the mayor's office.
Currently 311 is in the mayor's office.
True. I'm just trying to think through the implications of, again, I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think through the implications of are we striking a position that currently exists within the administration?
That's not my intent. My intent here, and so maybe the motion could be wrong, but my intent is to not prescribe it, that it has to be in the mayor's office. The position should exist somewhere. And as we said, it is, nothing in the legislation says that it has to be a full-time position or the full responsibilities of this person. We probably believe that this will be a portion of their responsibilities, but this role has to be somewhere, but it, is up to future mayors to determine where that should be. That's what I would like to see.
Got you. Okay.
And if you believe that my motion doesn't accomplish that, then
I don't believe
yeah.
I don't believe it does, only because the current positions already exist within the administration. I wholeheartedly agree that a new administration could come in and say, we want to restructure this. We don't believe, or we, working with the new administration, could actually absolutely do that as well, saying we want to strike this out of that office. I'm just not sure if striking this achieves what you're ultimately trying to achieve. And maybe we're thinking it through in real time, and I could also be very wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I don't really see how, we're not eliminating this position by eliminating this wordage. I think this wordage to me is a label that requires this to exist. In a place, and I would prefer it to be able to be flexible, to be put somewhere else, if they wanted to. I mean, a mayor 30 years from now might determine, or we've no way of knowing that now.
Okay. Okay, I think I understand what you're trying to achieve. You're essentially saying, moving forward, let's not put it in law that this has to be this way, even though it is this way right now.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. And if you believe there's a more appropriate motion that might accomplish that, I'd be happy to.
No, I understand your intent. Okay.
We have a motion, we had an interrogatory. Do we have a second? Was that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, was there a second?
Second.
Discussion? On the motion to strike? All in favor of the motion to strike in the office of the mayor in section 178A.09, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's do a roll call, please.
Mr. Sharlin,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. Mosley,
Aye.
Ms. Cal Smith, Ms. Warwick, Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger, Chair.
Aye.
Aye 7, 1 no.
Thank you. Motion passes. Is there any further discussion as the bill as amended? Did you have discussion? Okay, seeing none, I think we've exhausted our conversation and actions here. All those in favor of Bill 2096 as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And you can stay at the table as necessary, those who need to. We'll move on to Bill 2097, our second bill of the day.
Bill 2097, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code, Title I Administrative, Article 9, Boards, Commissions, and Authorities, Chapter
Majority of this is
179G,
invoices, but-
LGBTQIA+ Commission,
expect an hour and a
to
half on
strengthen
that.
the work of the commission by ensuring a dedicated staffer who will oversee the commission's recruitment,
Thank you.
budget recommendations, and event planning.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Councilmember Warwick.
Also have an amendment, same amendment to this to require the quarterly report. Excuse me, yeah, so I have a similar amendment to this one to require the quarterly report.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on, so we have a motion, we have a second, further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of amending Bill 2025-2097, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative or bill is amended. Is there further discussion on the bill as amended? Councilmember Warwick.
I just want to say, I've had a lot of involvement with the LGBTQIA Commission to date, and the work that you all have been doing over the past year has been really incredible. I've huge help with us, with my office working on a number of bills, and just really appreciate it. And as far as commissions go, I would say highly effective and just doing a great job. So, yep.
Councilman Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. So I just need some background on this because I remember 2022, like 2023, there was a post agenda. I believe you were the chair, councilperson, that this commission, they wanted to ensure that there was someone hired, and they were continuing to reference in the ordinance that there was a position, and it just was never filled under under, I don't know the whole history. That's what I'm looking for. Does someone have the history on this? Because like what I'm seeing in front of me is that code to a dedicated staffer, ensuring a dedicated staffer will oversee this commission. So yeah, I guess I'm confused because I thought that's what previously in 2023 was being argued at a post agenda by the commission, that there should be someone already hired to do this work.
So I'm happy to talk a little bit about that. In the current ordinance's language, there is no staffer or required staffer. You might be confusing that with the Gender Equity Commission, which I do believe some advocates did want a dedicated staffer, which I can totally understand a little bit of confusion there. This is just to say, I actually passed out a resource to all of you. That is something that was created on behalf of the LGBTQIA+ Commission, but I am their staffer currently. I'm the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Manager for the Office of the Mayor. And as their staffer, I actually had to communicate with 5 different internal departments. That is the Commission for Human Relations, Public Safety, our Comms Department, our Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs to ensure they were translated into Spanish from English, as well as the Commission itself to ensure that we were able to create very small resource.
Sorry to cut you off.
Please go ahead.
I know this meeting could go on for a long time. So that was okay, I stand corrected. So that was, well, I was actually just exploring I can't remember. So that was the Gender Equity Commission. That was the post agenda. Do you remember?
We have had post agendas on both, interrogatory,
Okay.
with post agendas on both. I do recall an LGBTQIA commission post agenda. Do not remember if I was chairing or not. There was a call for greater resources and greater attention that was put into it. It sounds as if we've gotten it through the attention.
Was
here.
there, so that was the,
I don't recall whether they actually named the ordinance as a requirement. I do recall the Gender Equity Commission naming the requirement for a staff person for the commission.
okay,
Both were asking for more resources and more attention.
okay. All right, well, regardless, I just wanted to get that clear. And so this, could you explain what this legislation does?
Yes, so this mirrors the legislation that exists in the Gender Equity Commission's ordinance that was amended late last year, in which it creates a dedicated staffer out of the mayor's office that is at least managerial level to oversee the administrative duties of the commission. That's including recruiting new commissioners, onboarding new commissioners, helping to ensure the commissioners have input on the budget process, helping with event planning and staffing for any sorts of events, as well as any administrative duties like agendas, policy writing, helping them with recommendations, contacting internal departments, etc.
And when was this position filled in the mayor's office?
So
Or not filled, when was it put into the budget?
Oh, well, it technically doesn't need a new budget item. It would be any staffer that would be in the mayor's office that is at least of manager level or above that could be the staffer. So I was appointed as the staffer by the mayor, but I already had my position.
Okay, you already had your position, so this isn't, so will we see a new position in the budget coming up?
No, not
this
that I
is
know
already
of.
in
It
there.
could be, the mayor has the flexibility to appoint any person within their office be the staffer of the commission. I'm also the staffer for the Gender Equity Commission.
Okay, so unlike the last piece of legislation, this person could wear many hats.
From my understanding, it was mirrored in the last in the Youth Commission as well, that anybody within the mayor's office could be appointed to staff the Youth Commission. That was the original intent of that language.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Further discussion. Councilperson Charlin.
This might be pedantic, but do we have a definition of management level employee? Is that something that exists in our code? That's what it says, is the mayor shall appoint a management level employee. And I guess I'm not sure what a management level employee is.
Well, my title is the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Manager, so I would guess that anybody with manager within their title within the mayor's office would be applicable.
This actually doesn't require that this person is in the mayor's office. I guess I'm just like, I don't know. Departments can call their staff however they want to call them. I think management level, I'm just not sure what to do with that. So
the context there was to ensure that the staffer would be in a position where they'd be able to raise any concerns the commission has and have some sort of oversight on that commission.
Yeah, and having commissions without having staff, I think is not useful. So I get that. I just curious what this term actually means. Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2097, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Thank you. Our next bill is 2098.
Bill 2098, resolution providing for the sale of certain property acquired by the city of Pittsburgh at tax sales, items A through N. 3300 Webster Avenue, District 6, 5500 Camuga Street, District 7, 0 Deary Street, District 9, 0 Lincoln Avenue, District 9, 2 Oakwood Place, District 9, 1617 Sterling Street, District 3, 1109 Braybeck Street, District 1, 0 Egger Street, District 1, 1136 Southside Avenue, District 1, 0 McClure Avenue, Council District 1, 3302 Fleming Avenue, District 1, 3300 Fleming Avenue, District 1, 1117 Acacia Lane, District 1, 0 Charles Street, District 3.
Is there a
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, discussion, Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, appreciate it, Madam Chair. I need to motion to strike item B, which is part of some green space we've been mapping out in this section of Stanton Heights on the border of Lawrenceville, where you have a lot of community organizations doing green space remediation. And so my office and the community have been working on this specific parcel. So I'm sorry to see that it was being worked on by real estate. And I'm going to call once again for real estate to let council offices know before they do the work, before it gets to the table, so that we can reach back out to the community and make sure that everyone in the neighborhood is on board. So motion to delete item B.
There's a motion to
Second.
delete item B. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, discussion. All those in favor of the strike of B, colon 5500 Camellia Street, Council District 7, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amendment passes. Is there a discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2098, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 2099.
Excuse me, resolution repealing an item in Resolution 675 of 2022, effective date December 2nd, 2022, in order to rescind the sale.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2099, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 2100.
Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of finance to accept deeds conveying all right, title, and interest in parcels 46E44 and 46E46 located at 2716 North Charles Street, 26th Ward, Council District 6, to the City of Pittsburgh to advance the Fowler Park Master Plan and authorizing the payment of $1 in exchange for the parcels.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2100, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 2109.
Ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title I Administrative, Article 9, Boards, Authorities, and Commissions, Chapter 178E, Registered Community Organizations, by temporarily suspending the enforcement of Chapter 178E until further action of council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion. So, I believe, just for record keeping, let's see here. Let's see here. Is there, we have a, interrogatory. Are we aware of the desire of the council member?
2109.
Oh, this is the RCW. She wants to hold.
Council.
Sorry, I apologize. I did speak with Councilwoman Smith about this yesterday. This is the RCO bill. She wants to hold for 3 weeks.
Hold for 3 weeks?
Perfect.
Second.
Is there a motion for hold 3 weeks? Second, all those in favor of a 3-week hold on Bill 2109, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The bill will be held. Bill 2119.
Bill 2119, resolution further amending Resolution 797 of 2017, effective December 28, 2017, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving a 2018 Capital Budget and a 2018 Community Development Block Grant Program and a 2018 through 2023 Capital Improvement Program to decrease park reconstruction by $54,683.26 and increase facility improvement sports facilities by $54,683.26.
Is there a motion?
Who's committing?
Motion to
Is there a
approve.
second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2119, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Affirmative recommendation. Bill 2128.
Bill 2128, resolution transferring the amount of $9,000 within the 2025 operating budget from City Council District's supplies postage to the Department of Public Works Bureau of Operations supplies, operational supplies for the purpose of purchasing litter cans in Council District 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, discussion, Councilman
Yes,
Coghill?
please. I just wanted to specify what this is. I think we get $9,000 allocated a year for postage in our offices. I chose to transfer that money. It's overwhelming. Everybody wants garbage cans on my business district. So we're purchasing, I believe, 9 new garbage cans with the smart technology, which makes them very expensive. But I do have commitment from my public works director that they will make the time and find the time to empty them when the garbage can tells them it's ready to be empty. I guess they have to wait.
You're embracing smart technology?
You know what? I can't stand it. I can't stand smart garbage cans. I'm sorry, but if that's the only type I have to buy, then that's what
We
we'll
all
do,
want to have
so.
an interrogatory on that.
Yes, it's true.
I could tell a garbage can's full from a mile away, honestly. But anyway, I just wanted to give a quick explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. I appreciate this. This is a kind of an amazingly rich topic that, the public always wants to talk about, which is garbage cans, right? It seems like we can never have enough. Because, again, it's not just the garbage can, but it's the staffing and the vehicles and the servicing of the garbage can that is really the chokehold on being able to have more garbage cans in more places. And certainly we want to have a clean city, et cetera. But I think I wasn't paying close enough attention. You said $9,000, and how many garbage cans are you getting?
That's a good question. I believe 9. So
about $1,000
a
each.
pop, right?
Yeah,
Right.
even I can say that I was shocked by the cost of garbage cans, even not the smart technology ones. I feel like they were almost $500 each
Right.
for just a normal garbage can that isn't just like a barrel that like we sometimes put out, which looks terrible. The metal barrel things. So I'm happy to support this today, but I just kind of wanted to make sure I got some of those facts
And then
straight.
interrogatory. Okay. And then there's a service on top of per year, or I don't know if it's just one lump sum across the city for the smart technology. So I'd like to get away from that, and maybe I'll propose that next year. But my goodness, it's garbage cans are very expensive. But I feel like when you put them out there, people use them. They really do. And if they're not out there, they're going to throw it on the ground. So I really love the idea of having as many as I can in every district. But yeah, they're just very expensive and hard to explain and hard to justify. But yeah, that's it. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2128, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. That moves us on to invoices. Is there a motion on invoices?
So moved.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of invoices, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Invoices are approved. Is there a motion
Good. Who's going to tell
on,
us?
sorry, still scrolling through invoices. Is there a motion on interdepartmental transfers?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of interdepartmental transfers, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Is there a motion on P cards?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of P cards, please indicate by saying aye.
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 P cards are approved. That moves us on to Public Safety and Wellness Committee chaired by Councilman Coghill.
Bill number 1531, deferred paper, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into a clinical affiliation agreement with Community College of Allegheny County to enact a precepting program allowing students to learn professional skills from city employees in the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services for training and educational purposes at zero cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 1531, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Thank you for being here. Chief, and Assistant Chief. We'll move on to Public Works and Infrastructure Committee chaired by Councilperson Warwick.
Supplemental new papers, Bill 2147, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to commit future year capital funding for an award and/or awards to Franjo Construction, First American, Wright Electric, and Wills Mechanical Contracting and Supplier, Inc. for the new construction of Fire Station 20 Medic 12 in Lincoln Place. The additional funding needed beyond what has already been allocated is not to exceed $4,450,000.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Second.
So on my paper, I have yay with an exclamation point, and then I have hold 1 week underneath. So I'd like to motion to hold 1 week, please.
Second.
Sounds good.
Motion to hold in a second. All those in discussion? All those in favor of a 1 week hold for 2147, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Bill will be held 1 week. That moves us on to Land Use and Economic Development Committee chaired by Councilman Wilson.
Bill number 2024-1214, deferred papers, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title 9, Zoning Code, Article 5, Use Regulations, Chapter 911, Primary Uses, Section 91102, Use Table, by adding a new use, interim housing, and supplementing Section 91104, Use Standards, by adding standards for the same.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So council members are well familiar with this bill because it started in the fall of 2023. And so you'll remember that the initial title was Temporary Managed Communities. And after working at that point on responses to our homeless encampments for 3 years, council had had its own task force that many of you were members of. We had worked with the county, we had had post agendas, we had had press conferences, we had worked with community members and the homeless network and had recommendations for expanding transitional housing. Now, fast forward to 2025, we're grateful to the county and to the county executive and the Department of Human Services for increasing transitional housing, both inside and maybe some outside the city, by nearly 500 and 500 days, right? And so we know that there are people who are living now indoors and not at overnight shelters where they're forced to leave every morning, and not outside in encampments, but indoors with a door they can lock and with safety and security, that are moving through this kind of transitional temporary housing into permanent housing. And so we're really grateful for that. So it's every person that kind of gets their lives back and gets into a permanent housing, that's another space that opens up in transitional housing that someone can move into. So this bill started off as just addressing not all of that problem, but trying to remove the obstacles in high density parts of the city to creating that kind of transitional housing. Because we saw that in some places, and again, this is just changing the zoning only in the areas where you might see large apartment buildings or hotels or high density areas of the city, such as urban industrial areas, the riverfront industrial mixed, the North Shore, urban neighborhood commercial districts. So it's that rezoning. It's been and positively supported by Planning Commission. But with the recommended amendment that you see in front of us, we held the public hearing, we had positive support, we've worked with council members, and we feel like we've gotten to a place that we can finally bring this to resolution. So I also know that Councilman Coghill and I have worked on this for years, so I'll defer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Coghill.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And, I just want to say this, when we started this, for members who weren't here yesterday, we kind of had this conversation during the hearing. But, we looked at many other cities. Councilwoman Gross did a lot of research on this. And, this form of housing for the homeless is successful in almost every example that I looked at. Not one city has said, oh, we tried that, didn't work out, we had to decommission it. So it's been very successful. I am very grateful to the county executive and to Aaron Dalton, who we worked very closely with through all of this, that they got their legs about them and actually, we got the momentum to find housing and, hope get people off the streets. So in passing this, it's very gratifying to me. I'm very proud of the work that we have done in this, dating back from the council commission that Teresa Kill-Smith, assembled to what Councilwoman Gross and I came, our final product there. We want to put this on the shelf. We hope it collects dust. We never want to see it again, to be honest with you. But it's very gratifying to me that we can't predict what's going to happen in the future. Nobody could have predicted the pandemic, or we can't predict what the next spike in homelessness may or may not be. But just to know that it's in the cupboard and we could pull it out and start there rather than start from scratch is gratifying enough for me to always be proud of it and hopefully never use it. So I sure would appreciate, a positive recommendation from council on this today. Again, it's not something that's in the works, but it's something we hope we never use, and it will be there, though, in case we ever need it. So thank you.
Thank you. Council President Lavelle.
Thank you. Thank you. Just making sure I'm clear. Section 2 is the planning recommendations that they suggested be added to the bill, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I believe we need a motion to amend by substitution.
Is there a motion?
Motion to amend by substitution.
Second. Discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bill is amended by substitution. Is there further discussion on the bill as amended? I'll just say, I know this was a long time coming. There were some concessions made, there was a long process, or a lot of discussions, and I'm pleased to see this move forward today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations on all your work. All those in favor of Bill 2024-1214 as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Affirmative recommendation. Supplemental new papers, Bill 2151.
Bill 2151, resolution approving conditional use application under the Pittsburgh Code, Title 9 zoning, Article 5, Chapter 911, Section 91102, for Pittsburgh Water property owners for authorization of new construction and site work at the Pittsburgh Water campus located at 900 Freeport Road, Block and Lot 171B12, zoned Riverfront Industrial Mixed Use, 12th Ward, Council District Number 9.
Motion to hold for Cablecast public hearing.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a hold for public hearing, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Bill will be held. That moves us on to Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology Committee, chaired by Councilwoman Gross.
Bill 2058, resolution amending Resolution 877 of 2024, authorizing the mayor, the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance, and the office of the mayor to enter into an agreement or agreements or amendments thereto with Encapsulate, now doing business as Accenture, to upgrade the city's customer relationship management system and/or related capabilities and processes by increasing the approved amount by $30,000 for a total cost not to exceed $1,125,755.33 over 3 years, subject to appropriation by City Council in future budget years.
Motion to hold 2 weeks?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a 2-week hold for Bill 2058, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bill be held. That moves us on to Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilman Mosley.
Bill 1964, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 1228 Heron Avenue, Pittsburgh 15219, at no cost to the city.
Motion to hold for 6 weeks.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of a 6-week hold for Bill 1964, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bill will be held. New papers, Bill 2094.
Bill 2094, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for 933 Penn Avenue, Pittsburgh 15222, at no cost to the city.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2094, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Bill 2118.
Bill 2118, ordinance authorizing the City of Pittsburgh to enter into an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the Borough of Mount Oliver with regard to the city providing emergency medical services to the borough pursuant to the General Local Government Code for a total compensation of $87,500 over 5 years.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 20...
Madam Chair, I would just like to say
Yes,
one thing.
please.
Okay, I want to thank, Chief Gilchrist and Jeff Tremmel for going and collecting our money and, for having their foresight, because we do a lot of work for Mount Oliver, and, they don't come knocking on our door and say, here's payment. So this is an effort to collect monies that we so desperately need. We provide a service, we expect to be paid. So thank you both.
Any further discussion? Just say I agree. And I again want to thank them for sitting through this whole meeting, more than this meeting, to be ready to discuss this with us, even though we didn't have specific questions. Further discussion? Yeah, Councilperson Charlin.
I mean, and I apologize, maybe I could ask you later, but is that a problem? Does Mount Oliver, do we have to go chasing down Mount Oliver?
Would you like to invite them to the table?
Yeah, could I guess, I'm really sorry. You have sat through the whole meeting, so we might as well bring you to the table for something, but.
Mount Oliver, they think they're District 3.
Yeah, I mean, I work pretty closely with them because my district encapsulates them. I'm happy to, if you want to introduce yourself.
Deputy Chief Tremmel, Pittsburgh EMS.
Chief Gilchrist, Pittsburgh EMS. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
We're not on that type of
So to answer your question, for years it was noticed that Mount Oliver, we had an agreement with them to pay $25,000 over a 5-year period. However, whenever I became the chief and the deputy became the deputy, we started looking through a lot of the expenses and realized that we weren't getting paid at all, and have no record of them paying for years. So realizing that, their entity, they can't afford to pay what they probably should be, but we came to an agreement that the 87 was better than, nothing at all. So.
And that's for 5 years, or?
It's over 5 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, initially it was $25,000 for over 5 years, so it was $5,000 a year.
What would happen if we didn't provide EMS service to Mount Oliver? I mean, do they have to find it themselves?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'll have to bring that up with Mayor Taylor. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Any more first round, second round, Councilman Coghill?
Yes. How many people are at Mount Oliver? Do we know? Yeah, like 8,000, somewhere around there.
Population-wise, I'm unsure. On average, they run anywhere from like 800 to there's usually 800 to 850 calls a year.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tremmel,
five-
can you please move that so we
I'm
can all
sorry.
hear? Thank you.
There's about 800 calls on average a year, about 500 to 550 in transports.
Because it seems like, it seems cheap for them to get away with $5,000 a year when we're responding to 800 calls a year. I mean, we should probably spend that in gas money going back and forth to the hospital, right? I mean, so anyway, it seems inexpensive. It really does. But at least, we're collecting something. So, but they call 911, we come just as if they're a city resident.
Correct.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of Bill 2118, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Affirmative recommendation. Thank you all. That exhausts our standing committee's agenda. We do have meeting announcements this afternoon with
Thank you.
sessions at 1:30 and 2:30. Council will hold a briefing on the TransDev contract. Next week, council will hold their regular meeting and standing committees meeting on Wednesday,
really
September
interesting.
3rd at 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. respectively. To register to speak at these meetings, please fill out the sign-up form on the council meeting webpage at the deadline. You may also call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Is there anything from members? I just wanted to welcome, this is our first standing committee meeting back from recess. I wanted to welcome everyone back from recess. I hope everyone had some time to recharge, get ready for a busy fall, and look forward to getting some work done together with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll take a
Madam Chair.
motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.